So he interviews somebody. I don't know who. I guess we'll find out. And we'll see what happens, I guess.
So anyway, I actually have an interview here. We're going to talk with a person who's been very involved with this in Final Fantasy, and we're going to get their perspective on things. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Hi, all good.
Well, anyway, I'm sure you've seen the whole stuff with Pyromancer and everything like that. You want to introduce yourself and just kind of tell everybody where you're coming from, what you're into, and what you do?
Okay, so people know me as Slan. I've been developing plugins since ever I got to Final Fantasy. I'm a WoW Wendy.
Okay.
You wanna call me that? So yeah, I've been working on plugins. I prefer not to mention which plugins they are, just because
I don't even know who this guy is.
I'm coming here from my own opinion
Who
and
is this
volition,
guy?
so I don't wanna ruin anyone's life.
I get that. I totally do. I mean, it's definitely a thing. How long have you been doing it?
Being honest with you, probably like almost
Yeah,
a year
I don't know
now,
who that
but
is.
in terms of actual active development, like 4 months.
Okay.
It's around the time it took us.
And so whenever you first started doing it, did you ever expect to hear a crackdown or see a crackdown like this, like what we're seeing now?
I mean, honestly, yeah, because by the time I already started developing, like people were already gatekeeping plugins and shit. But ever since the WoW people got around, just grew, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. It's gotten a lot more attention to it. I feel like now recently with the Dragon Song War Ultimate Raid, you just see so many people now watching Final Fantasy for that, is that they just had to comment on it. They had to do something about it. So what do you think about like them finally cracking down on it? Like do you consider this a positive thing? Like how do you feel about it?
Like, here's the issue I have, right? Is it a crackdown, or is it just like a fucking knee-jerk reaction? Like, this has been like the anchor of my debate around the subject the whole fucking time. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch all of this, by the way. Like, it's quite long. But, like, is it a crackdown, or are we just seeing a week of shit happening and then nothing else will happen for another year or two? Like it's literally always been. This is the issue. No one is complaining the shit's being cracked down on. People are complaining about how fucking inconsistent it is. There's the TOS and then there's enforcement of the TOS. And these are just entirely different things. Like, where does it start? Where does it stop?
It's kind of mixed because obviously the best alternative is to not have an illegal market, right? So
Yeah.
the best really option is for Square Enix to take inspiration, like they already said, and we thank them a lot for that. Take inspiration from the plugins that are created and implement them in game. Like, no one's here to try to ruin the fun for anyone. We find flaws that we think we can fix, and we make a tool to fix it.
So you think in a way like the add-ons have a symbiotic relationship with the game, and basically, and this is what's happened, like you said you're a WoW Andy, you know this, right, is that like in Classic WoW, we didn't even have cast bars you could see. There were add-ons for it, and then in Burning Crusade, they added cast bars. So you think in a way like the add-ons actually help the developers, it gives the developers insight into what the players want to see improved in the UI?
I honestly think so. Like, there's plugins with almost 1 million downloads. That's a clear indication that that plugin brings a lot of good quality of life to people. And that plugin simply does very simple tweaks, like showing your guild in your inventory instead of a UI element. Like, and
I think you should interview like the fucking Cactbot dev. I'd imagine this would be a very different conversation. Like, quality of life is one thing, but then, like, literally playing the game for you is another. Can you imagine? Like, an interview with someone who's just doing quality of life shit, like... I don't know, like, that it doesn't really feed into the drama so much. Because this is the stuff even I don't have an issue with. But if you interview somebody who like literally makes cheats, basically, then yeah, I feel like the discussion is very different.
There's so many things that plugins just give you quality of life, but they're still seen as bad. That's the part that really contradicts itself.
So,
like,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you can continue. It's fine.
Okay. So like, I'm sure you've seen some of the videos of people's takes, streamers and stuff. Like, for example, the target bar showing the duration of the puff, but not the party frames. Like, you can say whatever you want about plugins, but can you really call that good? Like, is that good? Could it be improved? I'm pretty sure everyone can say that yes.
You're talking about the base UI. Could the base UI be improved?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I definitely think so. I think that's the way a lot of people view it. And do you think that it's a lot of WoW players that have come over to Final Fantasy XIV and there's much more of a culture of add-ons? Or do you think this is just something that's been going on in Final Fantasy and it's just kind of been brought to a head now that you see a lot of high-end players with a lot of eyes on them, now that you see so many people watching the World First Race?
Well, it honestly always happened even before the WoW Exodus. People have been using plugins, ACT, you can name it. But obviously, the WoW influx did have a major... it just came to make stuff a little bit more difficult, mainly for the people who moderate.
Honestly, like, it's... I struggle with this idea that, like, WoW players coming to this game is what's resulted in this. People have been using this shit for fucking years, man. It's not just them. Like, it really isn't. A lot of people I've spoken to who use this stuff, like, including a lot of you, I'm sure. Like... not originally WoW players. Yeah, I know the question has to be asked. I'm just saying that, like, I disagree that that's, like, had that much impact. If we really want to talk about WoW players having an impact, then just look at, like, when Limit Max and co. played the game. Because you saw some, like, unholy fucking UI shit happening. Because they wanted to make it look like WoW, basically. And, you know, your opinion on that is your own. I thought it looked like fucking shit, honestly. I didn't care about it at all. Like, I really didn't give a shit. Because it's not my UI. Like, why the fuck would I care? But... It looked like ass, man. Crackbot the DBM equivalent? Yes. Well, yeah, of course they don't have the same perspective, because DBM is designed... Sorry, the boss encounters are designed around the existence of add-ons in WoW. It's not the case here. Quite the opposite, in fact. Right, there's a completely different philosophy.
Go ahead.
Do you think there's a difference between add-ons like ACT, and I think CactBot is one of the ones that calls out abilities that happen?
Oh, God.
And the difference between add-ons like that and add-ons like G-Shade and things that just show, like, for example, like a debuff timer on a party frame. Do you think there's a line where add-ons become unacceptable and a place where they are acceptable?
Of course. Like, we ourselves, we have guidelines for developing plugins. We obviously don't want to ruin the fun for anyone. We just want to give quality of life and vanity. We don't want to give anyone a clear advantage on clearing content. And the plugins that are created and are shown to the people who moderate, if they don't follow those guidelines, they're just banned, and they're not gonna be...
Well, this is what I mean, chat. This is why I was hesitant to watch this, because I'm like, Asmon doesn't know the full extent. This is what I mean. Like, ACT is like the base of all evil because so much has been built on top of it. But ACT by itself isn't really an issue. Like, this is the problem. And but honestly, I'm glad to hear that they have like moderation to make sure things don't cross this line. But the problem is, where is that line? And some people don't have any thought regarding that line at all. Because some people literally just fucking write cheats looking at you, PvP community. Fucking give them to people and shit. And then all of a sudden, we just have this major imbalance. Because there's no moderation or like mutual agreement to not do stuff.
In the plugin list.
So it's just that simple. Okay.
Yeah, and like whatever we're doing, Square Enix can do it. It's simple moderation. You can understand that moving out of bounds, moving objects out of bounds, that's clearly cheating. So that's not going to be a plugin that you're going to be able to install.
This guy at least seems to have a brain, so thank God.
Would you say that like add-ons that tell you what abilities are happening in a boss fight? So like, for example, if you're playing a boss fight and it just says, you know, Terra Flare, Mega Flare, I don't know, Dive Bomb, and it says the mechanic immediately, like, would you consider that over the line or not?
Yes.
That's kind of hard to answer because obviously we had all these contradictions. I've never been a fan of like big wigs and shit like that. On WoW, it's kind of necessary. Here, I don't really see the need. I've came here, I've never used Kekbot. I've never really had the need to use it. Now, I'm not that far into progress. I know the fight gets pretty hard.
How is it different to doing cool? Man, I see the smile and I assume you're being sarcastic, but like, I really fucking hate that argument. Oh, it's a Kekbot. It's just the same as callouts. What do you mean? That means having callouts is cheating too. No, it doesn't. Callouts can't tell everyone's individual mechanics and how to solve them. Callouts just tell you what's fucking coming. Plus, callouts can be wrong. God, Jesus Christ. People who make that comparison are coping so hard and are just severe Cactbot Andes.
And some stuff is just insanely hard, even with a 9th man to call out. So it's kind of like the way WoW went, that stuff became hard, too hard for people to figure out by themselves. That tools started to appear. I feel like it's kind of the same way. I think they're pushing the limits of people. They're reaching limits that it's just not doable within certain time frames, and people are just finding solutions for it. Like, for example, the 9th man, I know that's something really recent in Final Fantasy. It came from WoW. And it's literally just, we as 8 men, we can't. It's too much. And I think Square Enix should also keep that in mind, that there's an extent that you can push players for 2 weeks playing 16 hours a day. That, like, it's already too much by removing the tools that help you analyze.
This is a bad take. It is everyone's personal choice to spend 16 hours a day progging a fight. People know what they sign up for if they do that. I'm sorry, but saying it's pushing it too far, the fights are too hard at that point, so this stuff becomes necessary. Not really. Like, I really don't understand this take. People make a choice to fucking raid hardcore. Or like, you know, or literally world race. Like, I remember off the back of the last WoW Race to World First, this same discussion was had. Where it's like, oh yeah, you know, people had to stop because of like health issues and shit because it was so long. And it's like, yeah, and I'm sorry that happened. Because no one expected it to be that long. But you cannot say that like they didn't make a choice knowing that it could take that long. And like the same goes here. Everyone's been moaning that the game's too easy for a long time, and then a hard and actually like ball-bustingly hard fight comes out in the form of DSR. And now people are saying, "Oh, it's too hard, and these things should be allowed." Like, once again, like it's like these things, you know, these things aren't cheating, and they're nice, and they're good quality of life, and that's not, you know, that shouldn't be so much of an issue. But the reasoning behind it is wrong. The reasoning behind it shouldn't be that, oh, the fights are getting too hard. The reasoning should be that we want to use them because this is quality of life that should be in the game already. Like, please. Like, if we're gonna argue and, like, you know, try and, you know, maybe one day people want to go to Square Enix, get in contact and, like, try and talk to the devs. This is the wrong kind of fucking argument to use. Does not make any sense.
It's just gonna make it even worse. Like, I don't think anyone will enjoy doing an ultimate for 2 months of 16 hours a day.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't think
definitely...
anyone will.
It's never gonna be 2 months, man. It's never gonna be a fucking 2-month race. Not even, like, the famous fucking Gordius took that long.
That's definitely true. What would you say to people that would say that, you know, the
Such a
Final
bad
Fantasy
take.
developers themselves have cleared the fights, the ultimates, and thus players should be able to do the same thing?
Well,
without the add-ons.
I'm not really sure who exactly they're hearing that from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they do clear them. I don't believe they clear the same way as players do. They're developers after all. They can literally, if they want to QA test a fight, they checkpoint at the mechanic, they test.
We're not really sure if they fucking test their fights, but they definitely don't test their jobs. Yes, that is true.
They test it 100 times. They make automations to test fights. That's just how it works. Like, the fact that you can clear a fight, obviously you made it. So you're gonna have way more knowledge than anyone else on the fight.
So you think that they clear it, but they do it in a way that's not similar to the way players do, with extra tools or ways to pause or move forward in the fight?
I would say so. Like, I'm not saying that they don't clear it.
They make every phase a door boss, so they just have checkpoints. I mean, like, but like, here's the thing, like, you can't just say, oh, they don't test their fights because they do it a different way. It's like, playtesting's always going to be different to actually doing it. I would like to think they actually play it properly, yeah, sure. In fact, I'd really hope so. But, like, we've never really had massive issues with fight design, like, on a core level. Like, we can say a fight's good or bad, but they're at least bug-free, and they at least function properly. So, regardless of easy or hard, at least there aren't, like, major problems all the time.
Like a normal player,
yeah.
But they definitely have to not clear it as a normal player to test it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess that, of course, that would make sense. The other thing I'm kind of wondering about is, like, you see, obviously, these bans going out, these suspensions. Do you think that Square Enix is handling it the right way?
No. No, not at all. Like,
okay.
They're going after people who really, they simply shouldn't get banned this easily. Like, I do agree that you're crossing the line, you're crossing the TOS. That means you need to be punished for it, right?
Yeah.
But them making an announcement and hours later they just ban Bagel from the game. They ban him from Twitch, and now, like,
without like a warning or anything like that, just, you know, ban him and that's it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of the, I mean, obviously, you know, we saw the stuff that's happening now with Pyro, people reporting him like crazy. Do you think this is like witch hunting or what?
Yes.
Yeah, I do think it's witch hunting,
yeah.
and I mean, you can just go to Twitter. You look at who's typing what, like, oh, that guy was using ACT. You should die and get banned.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, what the fuck? You go see his profile. Oh, it's a modded cat boy that is addicted to housing, and he uses a plugin that.
No, he's not addicted to housing. He's addicted to sucking another dick publicly.
We do not allow. Like, it moves objects out of bounds. We do not want to have anything to do with those kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They use it to make pretty houses, and they use G-Shade. So, which side exactly are you on? Like, you're using tools that not even us allow, because they're simply just against our even TOS. And you're telling someone that uses ACT to get banned and die. Like, does not make sense to me.
It's certainly a lot, and I think there's a lot of people that don't like the add-ons, that they feel like now they are enabled.
They said G-Shade is allowed. Well, now this is very up in the air too, because like the forum post that gets referenced as evidence is suddenly like apparently not trustworthy anymore. But GMs can't tell us what is and isn't allowed anymore. Like, it's so weird. We talked about this earlier. Apparently nothing, like, nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing is safe, like, because even GMs, like, either don't know or they can't tell us. And this is where Square Enix need to stop being so fucking vague. Or, like, backtracking on words. Or being so fucking inconsistent with bans. Like, literally listening to brigades from a shitty fucking website is just the dumbest way to go about banning people. If you really didn't like it, you'd be banning people left, right, and center from the word go, in accordance with TOS, and then nobody would fucking complain. Not a single person. Because we would know that despite it being in the TOS, that like there's no acceptance that like there has been for literal years. Post is years old and it was never changed. And it was from like an official source. Isn't the categories of the list they would prioritize investigating? I mean, sure, like that's great and all, but it is still third party.
To like really do what they want to do, right? They're able to report people and take action against these people that are doing something that they disagree with.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I feel like this is that you're right, and like, yeah, of course you have something where, because you're right. So you're saying there are add-ons that allow people to do things that the base game doesn't even let you do, like put things in out of bounds, but somehow this is okay in the minds of people, but not ACT. And that there's somehow, I mean, there's kind of a hypocrisy there, where you're doing something that's literally not allowed versus something that just increases awareness, and one of them's okay and one of them's not. I think that this is kind of going to happen more and more until these features are built into the game.
Yeah, like I personally feel like
that's the other issue. Like they're just gonna ban people constantly, at least from what it sounds like, and then it's gonna be in the game, and then suddenly everything's okay. Like, it's just such weird logic from Square Enix, and like I feel so bad for people like Pyromancer, like people literally just brigading to get a guy banned for doing what they've been told is okay by so many, and what's been okay on Twitch for so fucking long. It's just crazy, and I feel bad for Bagel, who even got fucking Twitch banned for cheating. It's like the inconsistency is so fucked up. I hate it, dude. I really hate. Oh god. Oh shit, Pyrobats is here. Yo, what's up, man? Since your first day, have people been out like? That's so weird, man. I don't know what to say, dude. Like, I just feel so bad. Like, I've seen the images of people like trying to go at you. Like, Square Enix couldn't be handling it in any worse of a way. It's like they're basically okay with witch hunting, but they're not okay with something they've been okay with for years. This is why we can never have like a good relationship with our devs. It's actually nuts.
Like it's easy, well, easier than what people been talking about to draw the line.
Yeah.
There's stuff that obviously should not be allowed, but I don't see how giving people with disabilities and giving more customization the chance, I don't see how that should be against the rules. So, if we manage to do something for literally passion, like plugin developers are nothing but passionate players. Like this is the first game even that I've heard that modders and whatever are the ones that the villains pretty much. Like this is the only game you look at Terraria or Minecraft, for example, and they keep the game alive pretty much. Whoever does mods, they're spending literally thousands of hours. No one does that besides for money, and we don't get paid.
So you
and
don't
we
make
even get seen by as a bad guy.
Hey,
so
Gerald.
We literally do it for passion, and yeah.
So you're like Batman. You do it, and people still hate you. You do what's best for them.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm doing the best for them.
Yeah,
Everyone has their opinion, but like saying, for example, that vision impairment is not an issue for me, so I'm gonna vote against it. That just doesn't seem fair to me. Like,
there's always been this huge disconnect between like a Japanese company and the West. This is another problem. Like, obviously, you know, I don't want Square Enix to be like Blizzard. Jesus Christ. But I hope you get what I mean when I say, like, if Square Enix were more, like, Western-oriented or had a better understanding, like, I feel like there would be much more room for communication. And, like, so things don't get taken the wrong way as, like, people trying to say fuck you to people. And bear in mind, like, I'm still only talking about quality of life here. Like, I still hate Cactbot. I still hate trigonometry. I still hate any kind of cheat in this game. I think that's all fucked up, but like the debate here is about just basic quality of life. Like what is the impact really? And honestly, they're absolutely right to bring up the accessibility argument as well. Especially given that like even things like shaders can help with that. Like take P3S. With its horrible visual design issues, and they've had this problem in fights in the past as well. You just want people to fucking struggle. Oh, here's some color blindness options that nobody uses because they're apparently shit.
If someone has an issue with their vision and they need numbers bigger, I don't think the humane decision is to tell him then don't play the game. Play something else with bigger names.
Where do you draw the line? No? Like, for example, so like let's say you have somebody who is hearing impaired, right? And there are certain tells in a game. I don't know if there's that many in Final Fantasy, but you could do visual impairment as well.
That's all I've ever heard is that they don't help
would you think it would be okay
at all.
to have like text on the screen to tell somebody what mechanic is occurring at a certain time because they might not be able to visually discern or audibly discern what's occurring?
Well, this obviously depends, and I think it's more of a work for the Square Enix developers. Me personally, and we as plugin developers, we don't really do anything related to combat. We do UI, we do vanity. So in terms of combat, I'm personally against it. I don't like big wigs. I don't think there's a need for it in Final Fantasy. Although, for accessibility reasons, that's something that devs have to figure out by themselves. They will know more than better than us how to solve an issue.
That's a good answer. I like that. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. And I would say, like, just in general, like, what if you're trying to get a message out there to like an audience and you're trying to get like your opinion out there, where are you really coming from? Just take this whole situation and give us your general opinion on it and really how you feel about it.
Okay, so I'll try to even explain how I even started doing it.
Okay.
It was actually because I was leveling Warrior, and Warrior has an MP bar.
Yeah, it doesn't need that.
But Warrior doesn't use MP, right?
No.
I've always said this, like, why the fuck do we have MP bars on classes that don't need them? Like, I assume it's a fucking limitation of some description, but why does it exist? I was like, please just take it away. Like, we have absolutely zero use for it. Even, like, healing doesn't use it, you know what I mean? It's just so weird to me.
So how do I remove it? Oh, I don't. Oh, it's also connected to my HP bar. Oh, this doesn't really seem good. Like, so if I want to even increase my HP bar, I need to also increase my MP bar that I don't even use.
PvP healing uses it now. Yeah, but they already have a separate, like, hotbar and combat system for PvP. So that still doesn't need to mean still doesn't mean it needs to be present in PvE. Surely. Right?
And then
Right.
I started looking around, and like I found out I found out about plugins, and I started seeing what people were making, and I thought, man, I'll try to do something for myself. I'll fix my own problem. Like, I'm not a big person. I'm just a guy that plays games.
True, PvP
I'm not
has
gonna
damage.
write a letter to Yoshi P and say I don't think Warrior should have an MP bar on their UI. He's not gonna care. But if I can make the solution for myself and I can maybe help others, then great.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think, like, last thing I'd want to ask you is, if you could say one thing to Square Enix, communicate one thing with them, what would you tell them?
I kind of wish they would not throw so much shade at us. I think they have a really negative vision of the developers. But modding games been a culture of PC gaming forever. There's a lot of other games that are cross-platform that have Steam Workshop support, and they don't have mods in consoles. No one's ever complained about that. If you want mods, you play on PC, right? But again, I also agree that there shouldn't be a need for mods. Thing is, if a plugin has been downloaded a billion times, and then that probably means it's solving a lot of problems that the game doesn't solve by himself.
Yep.
So I wish they would stop seeing as these guys are here to ruin everything, and try to maybe see it from the perspective that we're just trying to bring up the tools that we feel like the game should have by itself. I don't really feel like when I see a new plugin, I'm not really thinking, oh, this is a cool new plugin, awesome. I'm more thinking like, why the fuck isn't this in the game already? You know?
As a WoW
So
player, I agree.
Yeah, like, and you can kind of get by how they went about the pretty much copying LVY into.
Like, it is the bottom line, right? Like, honestly, I like this guy's takes because, for the most part, because he understands, like, kind of where the line is between just having something nice and cheating. And, like, let's be honest, chat, like, how many games do you mod? Quite a lot, right? And in most cases, like, even the developers are pretty supportive of this idea of creating a better experience. But Square Enix just see us as, or not me, really, but, like, just people in general as evil people. And it is weird. Like, say what you like about the TOS. Like, the reason everyone says it's okay is because it's so popular. So when I see, like, people getting mass reported just for having stuff that provides no advantage and literally just, like, helps even with accessibility, like, it feels so fucking terrible. It's like, why is the community, excuse me, like, cannibalizing itself? over something that everyone should be united with, and then like go to the devs. You know, obviously there's a problem with that, and it's called the devs don't read the fucking forums, clearly. Otherwise the samurai and ninja changes probably wouldn't have happened. But when it comes to just quality of life, like, who fucking cares, man? Like, why do the devs care? Why are they taking it personally? Clearly, even the devs of like quality of life plugins like these don't want people to cheat. They don't want people to make the game easier. They just want to make it like easier to play, if that makes sense. The whole console argument, like, it is an interesting one, and I do understand the devs' perspective. If part of their reasoning, and we don't know if it is, but if part of their reasoning is like, if part of their reasoning is like, oh, you know, console players don't get this and we want it to remain fair, then surely that's more reason to put it in your fucking game. Like instead of using this as a fucking pedestal to stand on and say, no, it must be fair, it can still be fair by putting it in the game. Because these are basic things that people would love to have. And people use them because they want to keep playing. And they want to enjoy the game more. It's not losing you money. You can see a dev drawing a line that don't do things that modify their client code. Yeah, and they've said that in their posts. They've detailed what they don't like. But some of this doesn't even really cover that. Especially something like G-Shade. For example, which, you know, we're obviously still very unsure on. Why is my phone, like, frozen? What the fuck? And again, people aren't really, like, okay with that. People aren't okay with cheats. People like stuff. Well, obviously a lot of people are okay with cheats, but us people with brain cells aren't okay with cheats. And but that's, once again, another part of the problem. They are seemingly prioritizing going after people using, like, innocent plugins, and they are going after, like, actual botters and stuff. And that's where the fucking issue is, for me. Like, there's so much worse happening in the game right now, and you're not doing anything about it. Instead, you're targeting people who are getting mass supported, like Pyro, like Bagel, like whoever else. There was that other guy, I think. I can't remember his name. Like, for what reason? To what end? And yet we're just ignoring the fact that this is literal witch hunting, and we're instead focusing on, like, TOS, which, by the way, witch hunting probably comes under, you know, it's called harassment. Was Pyro banned? I don't think so. At least not yet. Thank God.
Is well, right?
I really hope he does.
It's pretty much mandatory right now to install.
It just shows that witch hunts work.
The game's just shit. You have a bad experience. You need to install add-ons.
Hiroro, that's the one.
So,
thank you.
I think they went in a good direction, and I think that Square Enix and Yoshi P, even in his latest statement, he does mention that he wants to improve. He knows that they're the tools that people are using, they're using it because they seem necessary. So he wants to add them in game, and I really thank him for that.
Like chat bubbles, for example.
Yeah, like chat bubbles.
Yeah.
Like, can you name me an MMO that doesn't use chat bubbles? Even RuneScape has chat bubbles. Like,
True.
For me, these kinds of decisions don't really make sense. It's just a sought out after feature to have in the game, yet they refuse to provide it. So people seem to be forced to go to other providers that are not official.
It's just what people are gonna do.
Like, even Preach was using it, like, more or less immediately, right? Because the first thing they find out about when they start playing this game is, oh, you can make it even better. And I like the whole chat bubble thing. Like full transparency, like I don't use Launcher or its plugins. I don't, because I don't know, I just don't really care. I'm just so used to how the game is that I just don't bother. But it doesn't mean I'm against it. I'm against some of the stuff on it that's available, sure. But stuff like that, like who the fuck is that harming? Does that give you an advantage? No. If anything, it increases immersion because you see people speaking, like, as they type to each other.
Think so, but you would say you agree that there is a line where add-ons do become too strong or...
Chat bubbles that make great callers RP even possible. Square Enix knows how big the RP community is and how it's grown in the past few months. Yeah, and look what happened to that. They started banning people. Alright, I'm being facetious. They were banning people advertising adult shit in PF, which was pretty fucking stupid. Yeah. Like, if you advertise adult shit in PF, this is like a 16 game. Like, you should expect fucking problems. Don't do that.
Too outside the bounds of what a player would be able to do.
Intrusive.
Now. Yeah, intrusive, basically. Okay,
yeah,
well, that's good.
I do agree with that, and it's exactly the same thoughts with Valve too. There's plugins that I simply don't really agree with existing, but it is what it is. And I kind of only feel like Square Enix should look at two solutions. One is to either endorse plugins and make them official, moderate what the same thing as Blizzard. Give us an API, give us stuff to work on. If you don't want to include anything that's combat related, then don't include that in the API. Let us have something official that we can call our plugins, or at least come ask us or try to understand why 1 million people downloaded a plugin.
I think what I'm hearing a lot from you is that you don't necessarily disagree with Square Enix not liking add-ons, but you just feel like you wish that they would take a more cooperative approach with the developers and with the players on it, rather than just punishing them.
Are they going to witch hunt Preach? I fucking hope not.
They then themselves admit is bad by the nature of them trying to fix it and acknowledging that.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, no one's gonna use ACT just to piss people off, right?
Yeah.
If someone uses ACTs because they need it, you can talk shit about parsers all you want. I also talk shit about parsers. I don't like them.
True.
But for example, FFLogs, it's a very valuable tool for World First Raiders, because the game doesn't provide you absolutely no information to how stuff ended up. Like, it doesn't matter if I know that I died to an ability.
I'm not gonna rant about logs today, chat, okay? I'm not gonna do it.
I don't know how I died. I don't know how much mitigation I had. I don't know if I was full HP. I don't know how much mitigation I'm gonna need. I don't know how much damage it dealt. There's no death recap somehow on an MMO. There's another one. If they simply add a death recap, then FFLog stops being a necessary tool for a high-end rating.
I've been asking about that for Path of Exile for about 10 years. I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good to hear your perspective. It definitely is, because I do think there's a lot of people definitely who have innocuous add-ons. Like, I would argue something like chat bubbles is completely innocuous. This is not something that increases your ability to play the game. It just simply makes the game more playable. And those people are getting lumped up in people that are using things that literally call out the boss abilities in voice. I think those
this
are
is the issue.
different things. So even though Square
It's
Enix
too
might
vague.
not be able to approach these two things differently based off of just the fact that they don't have that much resources, or they're not able to for some legal reason, I think that we can both agree that those are two different things.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and about the resources, I'm not exactly so sure about that. Obviously, it's always going to be about the big guy behind everything that decides the budget for the game. But man, we're 20.
Yeah, the same guy who's getting into fucking NFTs. I really wouldn't hold out hope for that one, man.
Hey guys, we did this in our room in our spare time because we also have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
We did it because we love the game. It took us 4 months to do it for free. We didn't ask for anything. We're not doing this for the cloud. What cloud are we even getting? We're the bad guys somehow. I don't really see an excuse to not enough resources or something. Besides the big boss doesn't want it.
I think it could always be, people told me that there's like a law in Japan that maybe makes it harder for them to handle it. It's hard for me to know. I have no idea what the laws in Japan are. But
all we know is that, you know, that they won't put like anti-cheat software in the game or some shit, like that scans files. That's literally all we know, and that's all they've told us.
That's just what people have said.
I mean, I can believe that. Like you, I'm not from Japan. I'm not gonna say whatever culture or rules they have up there. But one thing is clear is that whenever we had a thank you message channel, probably 50% of them were Japanese. So I also don't really like this, like oh, it's the Japanese people and their culture and shit. Like that's just not false. I mean that's just false. From the developer's perspective that gets the thank yous for developing the plugins, no, it's not the case. So I would also like for people to stop throwing shade at the Japanese people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that just feel that way everywhere. It's nothing special, unique to any one group. I agree with that for sure. Well, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, apart from the people literally brigading on websites to get people banned for no fucking reason, yeah. Obviously, anyone who puts, like, the entire country into a basket is a fucking idiot as well. But it doesn't change the fact that there are groups of people out there just literally witch hunting and harassing people. And, like, getting Square Enix to act on things that they've been okay with for so long, which is why people get told it's okay. Because literally nothing happened to anybody. The only cases we'd had before now were like the Arthurs and Xeno bans, and the Arthurs ban was like literally like due to like actual harassment using ACT, and the Xeno case we actually still don't know, so apart from that, nothing has ever happened ever, and it's just so alarming.
And talking about this, I'm glad to have your perspective. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, man. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, not really. I don't.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it, and good luck trying to get this worked out with Square Enix. It seems like you all are certainly going to need it, yeah.
We'll see.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.
All right.
Pyro isn't banned, but I'd love to know why you want him to be banned. Like, you're either baiting really hard, or you're just really fucking stupid. Pick one.
See you, man. Thank you.
I think that went pretty well. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. That went okay. And absolutely, come to Portugal. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Great, yeah. I mean, I think he brings up some good...
Because he doesn't like me. Yeah, unfortunately, there's people like that out there. Man, that guy must be from a 5chan.
Points. I mean, absolutely. There are players that just... I think that there is a huge culture in America, and I think really in a lot of places, not just America. And he does bring up a good point, right? A lot of other games have mods, and they just want to be able to do the same thing with the other games. And of course, Square Enix has every right to moderate the game the way that they want. But of course, there's going to be a lot of friction, you could say, whenever you...
In an ironic twist, he deserves his ban. Oh shit. Greaves. Yo, the machinist jokes, man.
have people that are so frustrated about so frustrated about something that they always feel like they had before. You know, I think that's definitely going to happen. So Arthur's made a tweet about this. It's one thing for someone to break the TOS,
This
and
is
then
so
others
fucked
to
up, dude. This is what I'm talking about.
brigading to get someone banned. Both North America and Japan are actually doing it. What's sad? Dark period. So
This
let's
is
look
a
at this
dark
here.
time. It's
These
so
are
messed
people
up.
clearly basically making a they're creating a what's a template for people to report pyromancer, and this is clearly on. Guess what website this is on? This is on the infamous hacker website 4chan. And you can see this also
What a wonderful place.
on, this is the, I guess, the Japanese website as well,
Yep.
linking Pyromancer's stream as well. So people are brigading and trying to get him banned. This is just what's going to happen, right? I mean, it's what's going to happen. Like, yes, obviously, these are not, and I want to say again, sometimes I wonder if it's salty WoW fans or something, like they're reporting ex-WoW streamers as a way of punishing them for leaving. Yes, the ex-WoW players definitely downloaded Final Fantasy, created an account, and tracked down a streamer just to report them. Yes, it's very plausible. Well, it's not that unplausible, but yes. Look, we leave Pyromancer alone. Dude went to so much shit with his last game. I mean, it's just a video game, man. It's just a video game at the end of the day. Is absolutely not what he wants or needs. Yeah, I mean, again, like that's why I'd say don't scream if you're in that mental state. Chilling Spree with the 5 gifted community subs. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you don't break the TOS, there's nothing to fear. Every TOS is written to be vague in a way that's impossible not to break it. Yeah, I think this is a disingenuous thing to say. It's very obvious, like that there are different levels of breaking the TOS. Yeah, it's very obvious that there's different levels of it, and it's just like, oh, and this person is they're technically right that every TOS does have like catch-all phrases that they can ban you for whatever they want. Yeah, sure, but like I think that this is. It's deliberately disingenuous to imply that having add-ons is in that category. Let's see here. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. The community I love is riddled with gatekeepers who will turn on you the moment the opportunity arises. It's not the majority, of course, but the best community in gaming has a secret, dark underbelly that does not like outsiders.
This game suffers from a very, very chronic case of toxic casualism. If you don't do things the way they want, like, God, so many casual players must hate me because I don't play MMOs for the story, man. Like, I skip the story. Oh, there we go. I've said it again. Clip it. Clip it and cancel me. I dare you. Alright? But of course, because I'm a man of reasonable thinking most of the time, I am fine with people that enjoy the story. Wow, isn't that crazy? It's almost like I'm glad that people enjoy different things in this game. That's crazy! I'm glad people get so much out of something that I don't. But why must we clash and have so much like friction like this, like fucking rubbing cocks together like this in a not nice way? And it's always like the casuals like attacking the raiders about it, man. And guess what? Some raiders enjoy story too. Your way is just wrong. Exactly, man. I am wrong. Show me the error of my ways. But it's like this again, like with all aspects of this game, man. I had a full notepad of DSR already. Didn't need it. Like it's just madness, dude. Like Someone said this to me recently. They were like, how the fuck did this game win, like, Best Community Award? And it's like, in my mind, like, game awards and shit are just, like, bias at best and, like, political at worst. Maybe with some bribery involved, I don't know. I obviously don't know this. This is all speculation, but Best community, my ass. Like, the only people that say this as the best community are people that just haven't played the game. Maybe there's just... I mean, there is definitely far more casuals than there are, like, you know, high-end. But, like, why does this have to be, like, a fucking war? Why does it have to be an argument? It doesn't make sense. Who fucking cares, man? Just moving my character, sorry. Oh.
Bro, what is this? The fucking... Like, I feel like that's a quote from, like, a fucking... Like, the beginning of Assassin's Creed. God damn. Like, what the fuck? Let's be real. All right, let's come back to reality here. This not the like, you think the Final Fantasy community is on like, no. There are people that are assholes in every community. There are people that are huge racists that play Final Fantasy XIV. And you know why they're not banned? It's because they don't talk about it. Doesn't mean they're not there. They just don't talk about it. They haven't gotten reported. Oh, me? Yeah, shut up. Listen, all I'm saying is plenty of people. Yeah, absolutely. He was banned. Was Pyro banned? Let me see.
No.
Final Fantasy is one of the most toxic communities, and it's insane. This is really getting out of hand. What's happening with supposedly all this welcoming community? I find this to be so disingenuous and so obnoxious. I hate this. Because it's not the Final Fantasy community.
Like, to be fair, like, a lot of, like, the community... when we say community of this game, we're basically talking about the people who don't watch streams. Because all the people that don't watch streams basically hate streamers, it seems. Like, it's so weird, man. It's like, some of the best advice, some of the best community is all on Twitch for this game. Like, unironically. Unironically, the best part of this game's community is Twitch. Is Rich banned? Not yet. Yeah, you can just clickbait, man. Then everyone will leave you alone. All of a sudden, they'll be like, "Oh, he's banned." What's this? Wait, what the what is this shit? Oh god, copyright. What the fuck is this? Okay, sure. Thank you. Yep.
This is the internet. It's like, for example, if you have, let's say you have no emotes banned on your channel, and you have a random, like a black person come on stream, and this is any stream with over 40,000 viewers. What is going to be in the chat? Try hard. You know it. I know it. Everybody fucking knows it. That's what people do. They do that, and this is not something that is endemic of the streamer. This is not something that is, the streamer did not cause this to happen. Is that bad? Yep. I find it to be tacky, okay? I don't want to argue whether it's bad or not, but we can both agree that it's kind of tacky. So, whenever this kind of stuff happens, people always go and they blame the individual that it happens in. They blame something like the Final Fantasy community. But what they don't understand is that the Final Fantasy community exists inside of a larger community of internet users. And internet users exhibit this behavior, and the Final Fantasy community has internet users inside of it. So it's not a direct fault of the Final Fantasy community that a small amount of them are hostile or aggressive. It's not. It's not really harmless, though. I don't want to talk about what this is not really I don't want to get into that. But, like, you see kind of where I'm saying here? is that you look at any big stream, and like every big streamer almost has, like, whether it's fucking, like, people say Mizkif's community can be toxic, people say XQC's community is toxic, people say like any of the other streamers, like Aiden Ross's community is toxic. Anybody who gets a lot of viewers, they say their community is toxic. Why is that? It's because once you get to a certain amount of people, 1% of bad boys becomes a big number. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you have 50,000...
Jesus Christ, that's fucked up. Oh my god. I'll be honest, I'm not really familiar with, like, the WoW side of things, because I played during Legion and that was it. I played from Emerald Nightmare until, like, Antorus, but I was working full-time, so I couldn't really, like, get too into it, I guess. So I never saw any of that shit. I was never really that invested in many, like, WoW YouTubers and stuff. But that's fucked up. Holy shit.
1,000 people watching, and 1% of them are assholes. That's a lot of people.
Like, yeah, it's definitely not just Final Fantasy, but this is what we notice more because we play this game so much. Like, I have over 20,000 hours in this fucking game. Please help me. I've only been playing for like 4.5 years. So, you know, it's not just FF, but this is what we notice, and this is why we focus on it. Still play Machinist.
Yeah,
I was
that's
Paladin
a lot of
for half
fucking
of it,
people.
okay.
And so, yeah, that's like 500 fucking people. Doesn't the same logic apply to WoW? Yes, it does. And this is what I said before about it being a consistent, repeated behavior. This is not something that's happening in Final Fantasy. This is something that's happening on another platform, number one. Number two, this is not something that is repeated. We've not really had this happen before. So that's why I'm saying it's not because of the Final Fantasy community. You see kind of where I'm coming from here? Wrong, it's because you and other big streamers don't take enough action into removing these people from your community? Well, I'm actually curious, like, what do you think that we should do? 44 Marka. I'm actually curious, like, what do you think that we should do that we don't do? Yeah, what do you think that we should do? Because, like, if you have insight that, like, maybe we don't, yeah, I'm actually curious. Yeah, go ahead. Give me one example of something that we could do. More moderation, not enabling racist people. When did I enable a racist person? When did I enable a racist person? Right now with the...
I fucking love it when Asmon argues with his chat where, like, people just shout shit because they think they're not gonna get seen. And then they get seen and, like, they just... Their tail goes between their legs and they just limp away.
These takes...
Oh.
So which part of my take enables racists? Saying there's nothing you can do to prevent this? So then what do you do? So wait a minute. So your logic is that saying there's nothing you can do to prevent this is enabling them. But by enabling them, you're saying there's nothing to do to prevent this. This is circular logic. Yeah, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Like that dude earlier. I mean, I have 200 viewers, not fucking 50,000. Like, did he think it wasn't gonna get seen? I don't think so. I think the guy just, like, wanted to cause a problem. I don't know.
You understand? Like, you actually... And this is the thing. Is, like, if you actually had a solution to this, you would have immediately stated it. You would have immediately said, you should do this, you should not do that. But you didn't do that because you don't know what you're talking about. I find it to be very insulting to be told that I am enabling racism. I am not doing enough in my community. We've banned multiple emotes. We have to put things in sub mode constantly. Like, we really work overtime to make sure that this community isn't toxic. We really do. We work really hard to do this. And I think a lot of streamers do the same thing. Like, for example, I'll give you, like, one example. Is, like, the reason why the booba emote is banned is because what ends up happening is, like, every single time a girl comes on stream, people spam the booba emote, right? And we had to ban it. We ban it sometimes whenever we have, like, different girls on stream because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And I don't even really have to have them tell me that. I just don't want to enable a culture of people where they think that is something that's good to do. Does that make sense? It's funny? Yeah, it is funny. But for some people, it's not. And so I don't let them do that. I think
Fair.
it would make people uncomfortable. Foofy, thanks to the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Did you ask them? I don't think that you really need to in a lot of cases. And I think also, even if that individual person is okay with people typing the emote, right? Like, I think Fandy's generally okay with people typing the boob emote, right? Sure. But there are a lot of other girls that aren't. And so I try to not create a culture around that, because if you do that, you end up making it to where people approach every single person in this perspective. Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? Hamzad, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Can I ban this comment? Ban whoever you want, Jibo. I don't care. But anyway, like, what I'm saying is that this is a problem. You know, it's a big problem. And
Fair.
I do a lot to try to remove toxicity from my community. And of course it's never going to go away, because they're just here endemically. They're here naturally on the internet. What I don't understand is how Square Enix thinks this is okay. I can 100% say this isn't different
If they're
from
breaking
harassment,
rules,
because as you
yes.
said, one thing is breaking the TOS and another one is ganging up on these guys to get people banned. There's nothing. Yeah, no, I disagree with that, because he wouldn't get suspended if he wasn't breaking the rules. It's not like 50 people report him and Square Enix says, oh, well, you know what? That's enough reports. He's getting banned. This isn't different from harassment, because as you said, one thing is breaking the TOS and another one is ganging up on these guys to get people banned. There's nothing. Yeah, no, I disagree with that.
No, I disagree with Asmon here. Like, here's the thing. Like, sure, you have a bottom line on the TOS. Okay. But guess what else is against TOS? Exactly that. Like, I don't like that Square Enix works on this system of whoever reports who first wins. It doesn't make fucking sense. Like, yeah, you can argue all you want about, like, third-party shit being in the TOS, but once again, the inconsistency is so bad, and there's no, like, contingency against, like, suddenly getting flooded with reports about one person. Especially in the case of streamers during the World First race. Because Square Enix even said that they watch and cheer them on and stuff. There's no way they didn't see this stuff, but it was okay when they watched, but the second someone reports it, suddenly that's different? Where's the consistency? So no, I disagree with Asmon here. Like, you can argue all you want about it being against TOS. Brigading and harassing people is still never okay. When a report is made, they have to follow up on it. There's a lot of reports they don't follow up on, such as people botting constantly. Such as people cheating in PvP. Because there isn't enough proof or some shit, even though we don't have the tools to fucking show concrete proof. They're the ones that should be monitoring their game better, so they see it happening for themselves. I'm sure they can go invisible and shit. Like, I'm sorry, I don't agree. They don't monitor their game. How should people play Alliance Raids out there? Yeah, I saw that meme.
Because he wouldn't get suspended if he wasn't breaking the rules. It's not like 50 people report him and Square Enix says, oh, well, you know what? That's enough reports. He's getting banned. Langomusky, thank you very much for the 25 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I completely disagree with this. Because
Wasn't I harassed in the past? I was, yeah. I was harassed by somebody quite early on for like 2 weeks. And like they finally got banned, but it took so long. And I wasn't the only one either. It was a fucking weird situation, yeah.
Because this person would have never gotten suspended if they weren't breaking the rules. This isn't a case of someone being unfairly suspended. This is a case of somebody being breaking the rules in a realistically, like, not a big way. But you know, and then them getting suspended for it. Yeah, I mean, that's
10 days
just the way
for
it goes,
a first
man.
offense. And then
WoW
getting
does that
banned
in
from
KEKW.
Twitch
After
as
so many
well?
reports, you get automatically banned. Exactly.
Not
and that's
major,
why
by
it's-
the way.
if we were talking about WoW, she'd have a point. Absolutely. But we're not. Someone who broke the rules can still be harassment. Third option is ban power for add-ons and the people who are mass reporting for harassment. But how do you know they're mass reporting for harassment? So, like, is anybody
Is that
who's
not
reporting for
obvious?
harassment, maybe somebody doesn't like Pyro using add-ons, period, right? How do you know they're harassing him? How do you know they don't just have a genuine feeling about it? It's impossible to do that. I know
but if you don't know that, then you shouldn't act on it. Like, that absolutely goes both ways. I'm sorry, Asmon. Like, you were doing pretty well, but towards the end here, you're falling off, man. Like, this is... Like, that... I don't know, that's bullshit, honestly. Like, yeah, how do you know it's not a genuine feeling? Well, how do you know it is?
that sounds like a good idea, but it's really not. Give me 1 second here. Some people report out of spite, by the way. I do it all the time. Whenever somebody makes me mad, I keep making them mad until they use profanity, and then I report their account for language. That's right. That's right. It's like you're baiting a pig into like a pit of spikes, right? To, like,
Asmon would never
so
talk to me. What the fuck?
Yeah, I do it all the
I'm
time.
not an important person.
Because somebody fucks with me, and so I fuck them back. That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay.
I love it.
Very good. Alright, well, I mean, I didn't expect to watch all of that, but we ended up watching all of it because it was pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't agree with him towards the end, but no, the interview was interesting. It gives you more perspective, but like, my opinion remains the same. Like, the consistency has to be there. And this is the same with a lot of things. Like, take Twitch as well. Twitch are really bad with their own TOS, and like there's favorable treatment and all that shit everywhere you go. So, shrug, man. I don't really know. I really need to pee, chat. I'll be back in a sec.